Now that you're at war, end of game. 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 Yeah. It is the end of the time. Yahweh will not bless the nation that has gone astray. Blood sacrifice in the bay, children gunned down. Do we ever learn who it is and what they want? Now that you're at war, end of game. 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 End of game. Now that you're at war, end of game. End of game. We see them here, we see them there, the epic of creation and destruction. Blood are not tears, torture is not joy, stalking is not something of goodness and God. Love and peace everywhere cannot abide, it must subside. It comes through the same place of fear. Fear of the other, fear of me, fear of you, and the absence of love. Yeah. Yeah. Don't wake up. Don't you wake up. Satan, God, love. Now that you're at war, end of game. Where is love? That you're at war, end of game. Peace is not war, love is not hate, stalking is not friendship. Now that you're at war, end of game. Now that you're at war, end of game, end of game, end of game, end of game, end of game. the epic of creation and destruction. Now that you're at war, end of game. Now that you're at war, end of game. Now that you're at war, now that you're at war, end of game. End of game. Now that you're at war, yeah.
Greetings, in the name of the Most High. Yeah. Well, the pod I put up, which was audio, dealt with some very difficult philosophical and, let's just say equational concepts that were used to prove of the reality or irreality of this situation, but the ultimate reality of the expansion of understanding. But that expansion has to become happens within us. Okay. And then that's the journey. And they have us looking this way rather than this way into infinity. So I don't want to go through it now. It hurts my head to think about it because it's something that just has to happen. Because we're not, this is not our final destination. I know there's the specter of nukes happening. Say some cheese and some nukes. The meltdown in the Democrat Party, the meltdown in politics itself in the United States, the weakness of the regime, if you will, is what leads to wars. And it's hard for me to imagine, but it will happen. Predict that there will be people who, who are in the system, who worship the system, who worship the beast, right? The beast is here. The beast is the system. So there are people that worship the system who will worship the nuke. They will worship the war. They will spur it on. They'll want it because they somehow have this amazing naive belief that they themselves are exempt or whatever. It doesn't really matter how illogical they are. The first mistake they made was to reject God, have no fear of the Lord, and that means no awe of truth. It doesn't mean what they try to tell you it means, but I don't think that we can communicate too much with the rest of the world because the world is not ready to hear about the expansion of consciousness and the escape of this prison and entropy planet into the permanence of multidimensionality that's all one thing and not divided into multi anything. This is the goal. This is the reason we're here. And, we're going from here to there. And whether there's a nuke or no nuke or war or civil war or famine or strife or diseases or crash in the market or a booming market or rousing success or a complete failure, it really doesn't matter in the end because this is not really the big leagues, if you will. This is a point on the way. This is a momentary a pain, but designed to produce wisdom and expansion within every one of us. And thank God it did. The only way that I have expansion of knowledge, IQ, figure things out, sound mind, whatever. The only reason I have any of that and why it's increased in my older age is due to repentance and awe of Yah, fear of the Lord. It's understanding that that's the source, that's the path, that's the way, that's the final destination, that's the beginning, and that's the end all at once. I must abide in that because then I'm free. I'm free right now. The prison, there is no prison. A war, fine. Right now, it's an abstraction. If it happens, then we'll deal with it then. I'm sure that we'll all scream and go, "Oh no, please!" Boom, gone, and that's the end of it. But I'm just, all of this has put my mind onto the things of eternity and onto the things of peace and onto the things that really matter, which is, who are we, and are we going to get out of this limitation, this prison where death is our final destination? And first there's a wearing down, there's a degradation, and then there's death. So the ultimate torture. So my thoughts are with expansion of consciousness and what would that really mean? And I think we all know what it means. It means expansion is the solution to the entire issue. Now, what is blocked? What's the cherub blocking? The cherub in the Garden of Eden. He's blocking what's he blocking? He's blocking the tree of life, isn't he? That's the tree of extended life. Because then they'll be as gods and know good from evil. They'll be like us, the Elohim says. And this is something to really contemplate because, of course, that's the answer, literally. That's the destination. Not to be blocked by the cherub with the sword, and that's it, period. But that way through to the tree of life and beyond is the way of expansion within and the way of emancipation for all humans. And I'm not going to get excited about this because, I could, because it means idyllic times are ahead, folks. They lose. Remember? They lose. I told you they lose. They lost as of the other night, just in politics. And I'll give you my spiritual download of this, and then we'll go. It's a brief video. It was a vengeance thing. And, Trump was selected to take out that vengeance for what was done to him because it was Biden that locked him up in the jails and threw all the lawfare at him and completely cheated and lied and did everything he did. And so Trump slew him. He is officially dead in the spirit. He's dead. He's a dead man. Okay. So what that means is that Obama doesn't seem to realize that. The camp that wants to keep Biden in and do weekend at Bernie's, that's fine. They will discover this. But people that know anything about the spirit, people that are sensitive, they know it's over, right? They know he's dead. They know that Trump slew him. All that talk about taking him out in the back of the shed and beating the crap out of him, all that all got settled. That got settled right there in the debate. It all got settled. It's settled. It's done. So he's dead. So will they run a dead man for office? They might. Does that mean Trump deserves to win the election? No, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything other than Trump slew Biden in a vengeance not of his own, but of the Lord. So that's how I see prophetically this thing. And what it means that, well, with a dead president, whatever, with a dead president, there's really nothing you can do. So it's just, devolution into chaos. And the people are, I don't know, will they reform? Will they not? Well, it's, worth a try, I guess, but I'm just observing what I've seen. So they can trot him around and he can talk and they can pump him full of drugs and he can be lucid at times. But spiritually, the signature is death, and, death of a career, death of the body, death of the mind, overall, death, kaput, gone. And that's what happened. And the slaying of this demonic force, if you will, given to Trump. Trump was the most maligned. He was the one to do it, and I think he understood. I think he understands what has happened, but it's not his sword that slew Biden. It's the Lord, the sword of the Lord. The amount of hatred of God and arrogance and pride that this senile old guy showed showed his true heart, which was a heart of stone, of indifference toward people whom it looks like he hates, and God and everything else. It's just a really sad thing. But he had to be unmasked, and the people that still follow, beyond just being fools, these are maybe they can't be worked with. Maybe they're just going to be earth dwellers, and they'll go down with the ship. I don't see any use for them if they're. Maybe they can wake up. I really don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't. I don't like ignorance. When I see it in people, I can understand how people get that way because they want the world to be a certain way, and so they just start believing it. And I just don't have time for that. I think what I want is peace, and I don't want to get my stress level up too high. And I'm not angry with them. I'm not really angry with the United States or France or Russia or anywhere. I'm not angry with any of it. It's all the same. The whole globe, it's all the same. Every community is the same. So I would ask the Lord for deliverance of those who seek the path, that they would be able to be let out of prison to seek it. And as far as being a prison, it's a training ground. It's a prison. It's a character builder. It's a way. It's a way on the path. There was a time before we were born, and then there's a time after we die. But then it keeps going. And that's my understanding, and that's where I'm headed. And I hope to see you there because I'm really stoked seeing waves and trees and roses and just breathing good air and feeling like if this is going to be a time of chaos, let me be at peace now, at least for the next couple of days anyway. And I hope you are too. I bid you shalom. Shabbat shalom. It is the events of the last 48 hours or so, 72 hours have been so comic book like, so hallucinogenic, so it reminds me of a ketamine high. Just this much ado about nothing, really. And I'm always blown away at the pettiness, the selfishness, the narcissism, the psychopathology of our rulers, the short-sightedness, the unwise decisions, the fact that they believe they own us, and if we try to do anything on our own, they come to get us and to torture us and to hurt us, to bludgeon us, to make sure we understand that there's punishment for free thinking, punishment for wondering about why we're here, who we are, what we are, etc. Punishment for all these things. And Yeah, you've had enough. I've certainly had enough. Would I want to come back and contend? Not really. I don't think I'd like to come back. First of all, the dimension we're in, third density, is highly superficial, and it's highly manipulatable and very much a simulation compared to the totality of everything. I mean, say with God, I think God just takes all the dimensions as one, and that's just one single experience. And we can't really do that. But if we are further evolving, developing, being made, into a more super conscious being as we move forward, if that's what heaven really represents, then of course, rather than a destination separate from anything, but rather it's a destination within ourselves of, like I say, super consciousness, or cosmic awareness, or if you will, freedom, in the sense of being free from time, space, bodies, locations, or not. And at the same time, being made into tabernacles of the Most High God, because God could not live in something that was not made in His likeness and image. And that's actually going on right now. So when I think about God within me, I think about the tabernacle of Most High God. He wouldn't be there within me if I, as a vessel, were untenable. And so forgiveness becomes something like the sins are forgotten. The struggle with the flesh is taken in abeyance. It's also stipulated that there will be that. And yet, at the same time, the Holy Spirit dwells within. God dwells within us. And, instead of some sacred mountain somewhere, it's us. And we are the children of promise. We are the children of the true evolutionaries, the ones that will become the New Jerusalem, or, if you will, become everything and nothing at the same time. This way to peace, this way to emancipation, is extremely comforting to me, because I'm putting it in terms of we have the scriptures, which are, they are what they are, but then extrapolating from the scriptures, you get this view of the cosmos, which is multidimensional, which people, like I say, can't really perceive until they themselves become that. And becoming that would be to become something like God, invisible, visible yet invisible. And it's a very interesting thing to think about, because it makes you realize that if God is seeking you to live in, and anesthetizes you, sanitizes you with Jesus, so that you are fit to be the tabernacle of the Most High, that final destination being not just comparable to the New Jerusalem, but a forever kingdom is spoken of in the book of Daniel. The idea of getting away from outside influences. Stars, no, the stars have rolled up. They've rolled up in a scroll. Planets, no, they've all been wiped away. Well, what is there then? Tabernacle of the Most High God, that's you. And whatever form it will take. Worlds, sure. More stars, sure. No stars, sure. All stars, fine. No stars, fine. Body's fine. No body's fine. But do not worry, says Jesus. I have overcome the world, and I go to make a place for you. I go to make a place for you. Let not your heart be troubled. I have overcome the world. Literally. Scientifically, I have overcome the world. There is no world. There's only me. So, when people externalize all these things, they get further from the goal. Because there is no such thing as the sacred place outside yourself. I mean, if fallen man observing something outside it's already tainted. It's already profaned. There's no sacred mountain. There's no sacred stand on your hands ritual and recite backwards the Magna Carta or something. There is nothing like that. But there is I am, and there is nothing and something that are coexisting impossibly as a paradox. There's good and evil that exists paradoxically intertwined together as a paradox. There's all these things that are all external that exist as a paradox that block us from the way to peace, which is the way of true evolution, which is the opening of the consciousness and reality of human and what was made as human. That could not be for a short period on Earth and then over with. That would have to be something made with all this in mind, that in this particular configuration, we live, we learn, we die. But that's impossible if you take all the dimensions at once as one. Then nothing dies. So, but what is there? Well, what is there is what's focused on, and who focuses, and that's God who focuses. And what do? We focus on what He focuses on. We are one. We are I am. We are not. We are the children of promise. We are the royal priesthood. We go wherever the Lord goes. World's fine. No world's fine. Amoeba's fine. Advanced humanity, great. Babies, great. Wars, rumors of wars, no, I don't like them, but played out in this video game, fine. Nuclear war, doesn't matter. Just know that in a nuclear war, a few people, the same people that you can't seem to figure out, will be the ones that nuke you. It's been obvious from the beginning who they are, what they want, and what they want to do, which is stupidity, pedantic notions, and circular reasoning. Anything else that you'd like to know? In other words, the work of the globalist is not luminous. It's ignorance. It's selfishness. It's narcissism. It's stupidity. It's psychopathology. It's hierarchical, limited, and a prison sentence, all wrapped up into one. The goal of which has to be, must be, what's Jesus' entire purpose? That to establish His kingdom which isn't here, of this world, and make a place for you and me, a destination. But the destination, the changes are within, because there's nothing that exists without. Okay, so blending in a little philosophy, a little dealing with the ontological argument. Does God exist? No, you just proved he existed. Okay, atheist, does God exist? No, thank you for proving he exists. And thank you for saying that you believe in God. Most importantly, when you say no, that means he has to exist for you to banish him. Therefore, you believe in God, you just don't like him. So you have a weak argument and you have a weak defense, and you have lost the match. It's basically a rout. You lose and they lose. Anyone that has the thinking, the external thinking, still it's going to be, it's one thing to have external visions of things and to see beautiful nature and to look at beauty where you can find it in a place that has good and evil extremes juxtaposed with each other. It's pretty easy to see the good stuff, to survey it. Then you find out that everything that you see is within you, that everything you do is within you, that everyone you talk to is within you, that everything that moves is within you, that everything is within you. You find out that you've been looking the wrong direction. The wrong direction. People talk about upgrading DNA and becoming cosmic children. Well, fine, but you would be the initiator of that, no one else. Not something going to happen to you. If you're the tabernacle of the Most High God, it's pretty much whatever you say goes. You and God speak with the same voice. So there is no duality and there is no separation. So long as you're in that configuration. Understanding the entire external world was made, because you can then think of the happy hunting grounds, or you can have the land of milk and honey, being delivered finally, having your own place upon the earth, only to realize that the earth experience, you're leaving it too soon. So this can't be it. But never mind, do not let your heart be troubled. I have overcome the world. I go to prepare a place for you. I will come for my bride. Is there any more proof that you need? Please tell me. It never was about her. It never was about the institutions of the earth. It never was about reform. It never was about electing Trump or not Trump or whatever the thing is. It's not about any of that. If you said it's a test, I think you'd be partially correct. I think if you said it's a training ground, I think you'd be even more correct. Because what happens here is that true beings get built brick by brick, step by step. Hardship breeds wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge of God. Knowledge of God is about ascension and escape from any prison, not just this one, because God did not make man to be, a slave in prison. So therefore, we are looking for something outside. Oh, they're over there in the woods. It looks pretty good. Yeah, except for one thing. You're going to get old and die. I'm sorry to ruin your... So it can't be the answer. It cannot. It is not. I reject that as an answer. A nice, safe place we can call our home. No such thing exists. There's danger at every turn. This is more like an obstacle course. It takes real wisdom and knowledge to be able to avert the real dangers. First of all, you have to acknowledge there are dangers, which most people, when they see Disneyland, they don't acknowledge there are dangers. There are dangers. And all you have to do is step out of line for 5 minutes and you'll see what the dangers are around you immediately. Why is it important that people stay in lockstep? Because they own you. They're the owners. As George Carlin said so deftly, they're the owners. They own you. They own everything. They have unlimited funds. So the election, how about another one of these? The election is basically getting people to look at a shiny object and watch it run down the track. It's going to save us. But God already sent the Savior. The Savior has already been sent. God has already revealed himself to be within. The answer then to infinity is within. Limitation cannot be truth ultimately. Has to be a simulation because truth is never ending and never beginning. It just is. So that's my little rant for today. I know it's I could tell you that there's real dangers now with the fact that there's a civil war inside the Democrat Party where they one group tried to oust Biden, and Obama is saying no because it's really him that has the power, right? So they're gonna, and now we find out that Biden's starting to shout about Article 5 of NATO, and you know what that is, don't you? You attack one of us, you attack us all, is Article 5. In other words, if we get any kind of bombing anywhere from Russia, we retaliate as if they bomb the United States. Article 5. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, how Kennedy threatened Khrushchev and averted a nuclear war. Nobody really wants a nuclear war. Some people don't believe it's possible to have one. It's just they say they're nukes and they don't work. But I've seen quite a bit of evidence of them working, so I would say they've got something, right? And they've got a way to do a scorched earth, don't they? And they would prefer to take you with them wherever they go. And if you're free out there in the cosmos somewhere, so you have to achieve cosmic consciousness. I'm going to steal this back from the New Agers, these terms, and from the sci-fi enthusiasts, because I need those terms. The truth is something like the truth is like a stable thing. It's not dependent on time, space, or motion. It just is thing, and Jesus as truth is just his thing. It's both a solid, unmoving thing, yet personal within the lives of each person. Because the tabernacle of God is within. Is the tabernacle of God within demons? Nope. Is the tabernacle of God within everyone that says they follow God? Nope. Can people say they're of God but are not? Oh, yeah. So how are you going to get through this? Well, you have to be some kind of a spiritual Olympic athlete, don't you, to get through this? It's not for sissies. It's not for pussies. You have to not care about your life pretty much to get through it. Because if you're on the path out of here, and I do suggest that unless you want to just live, I have no more use for this place at all. I mean, unless you just, I mean, I enjoy nature. I guess I could say that. But nature is always changing. The leaves are falling and they're going to be turning yellow pretty soon. And we have to harvest the vegetables in the vegetable garden, and then we're going to eat those, and then it's going to go fallow. And then, you know, things are going to get, all the weeds and everything are going to go dry and you know, opaque and brown and dried out. And then another cycle will come in. So that's a really nice gift, you know, to be able to see it in cycles. That's a real kaleidoscope of reality right there, that God could make it into a contiguous form of, you know, tethered in space and time, unfolding before your eyes, so that you will go, there is no doubt, unless you're an absolute fool, that this place, me, it, all of it is designed, including the events that happen to us, are designed for how long? For hundreds of years, thousands, how about millions of years? You were always going to come here. You were always going to do this. You were always going to leave the way you left. These things that happened to you were always going to happen to you. It has been established long before you were ever here. Let not your heart be troubled. I've overcome the world. I go to make a place for you. I make all things new. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I am the living water. Let him who has a thirst for freedom and for truth and for God and for reality drink of the living water freely. So that, why would he drink the living water? So that he can expand his consciousness, so that he can come to understand everything, so that he would be a joint heir in Christ, so that he would be not tethered to any Earth or Mars or planets or flying around in tin cans, which is hilarious since they're not necessary. I gotcha. Go ahead. I gotcha. Your Honor, what am I representing, the plaintiff or the defense? Who's is Jesus on against Jesus? Who am I defending? The atheist is the plaintiff? No, is the plaintiff God? And God is being indicted for cruelness and unreality. And I have just eviscerated the entire notion of reality. Therefore, the entire foundation of any kind of law that would apply to this situation would be null and void, would it not? Therefore, it's a mistrial. So, Your Honor, I move that we shoot, I could have been a lawyer too. You know, that would have been a good thing for me to do. You know, but anyway, I just thought I'd give you my latest thoughts on you know, the cosmos and our progression to the goal, which is, of course, will be the tree of life, the metaphor for absolute consciousness. And absolute consciousness, a lot of people don't want to go there. And I was very much enjoying, you know, the film Lucy. Did you like that? Even though Luc Besson, not really, I don't know what he believes, but I mean, that was not about spirituality. It was about taking a drug, and then the girl was a mule. Then it burst in her stomach, and her brain got lit, to the point where she was using 100% of her brain, and then she no longer needed a body. She could communicate with anything, anywhere, anyone, or take on any number of forms, or move any number of dimensions. She became cosmic. She became timeless, and yet she was also in time. And that was attributed to an expansion of the brain, the use of the brain. The brain is also a metaphor for mind. Mind is much bigger than the brain. Consciousness, God mind, is attainable, but also coincides with the use of the brain. They go, well, they can walk through walls. Well, yeah, but it's not a gift or a skill. I'm walking through a wall. It's just what happens when awareness becomes aware. It's the end result of the planting of these seeds that became human, of the tabernacle of the Most High, the prophecy of the New Jerusalem. It is basically the progression that leads to that fixed result, and everything else that is not part of that equation or part of that reality, or is not known, will be unknown, will be uncreated, will not be a part of, never was a part of, maybe a hallucination at best, but the best we see on a three-dimensional sphere spinning around in space, the most we see, I don't know, you flat earthers, you have your own theory. That's fine. I don't care either way. Flat, disc, frisbee, I don't care. I don't care because it's not my home. Understand? I could spend all my years and then drop dead trying to get to know what I say is my home. But if it was my home, but since reality has pointed out that could not be the home, and we've proven that in the court of law with God sitting there as a judge, I think I'm on pretty good ground then to say, what you think isn't what it's about. And what I think isn't what it's about. Oh, the thinking I'm doing now, yeah, more toward what it's about. But this is simply the destination of the process that was begun as we went from fully realized beings, and then we were put into wombs, and then we woke up with amnesia, and then we went on a journey to find out the truth, but then we found that the truth isn't here. I mean, if even more profound than that notion, or we'll say more of a conundrum than that. Profound is too good a word. Is the folly that you see on television with these politicians and debates and all this stuff. I mean, this is the most grotesque and pathetic thing I think I've ever seen. Well, I mean, the people putting all their hope into one candidate or another while we have nuclear missiles pointed at each other with the firing pin out and the damn thing cocked. Like you could be gone in 20 minutes. And no one's going to care. So what's the point of getting it right before you go? I'd like to think of it as insurance. So you don't come back here. Once you get your escape, you keep on going. Because you're only escaping into the arms of your own Father. You're escaping into the arms of the Creator. You're escaping into the fulcrum of reality. You're sojourning with Jesus. That is the cornerstone of all that can be built. Without which nothing can be built or nothing will last that has been built. Thus, Revelation 18, fall of Babylon, imminent. if nothing else, the fall of Babylon is good just to wake up these stupid motherfucking idiots that are out there, just trading away, and they think this is going to go on forever. And they got they send their boats over, and they got their slaves and their candles and their oil and their wine, and they're trading it all over the world. And they go, oh my God, we fornicated with her. We've been trading for years. We've had this system that's worked now it's gone. Babylon is gone. Well, Babylon might as well be a name that's called prison. It's the Babylon prison. Babylon is the great holder back. Babylon is the great ignorance. It's funny. When you start looking into the mystery schools and into the secret societies and Freemasonry and all that stuff, and study things like, Gurdjieff and Golden Dawn and Blavatsky and whoever else, this Manly P. Hall and yada, yada, yada. When you start going and you realize there's no truth there. And why? How do you know that? Because I feel like shit. That's why. Because I spent all my time looking around with you guys trying to point the way for me. And all it did is lead me more and more into despair. That is not what I'm here to do. Okay. So Manly P. Hall, you can take your books, take your little philosophical research society, and shove it up your ass. Okay. It's just folly. You know what Solomon would call you? Vain. So you can do a magic trick and make the moon look, much bigger. It's clown world shit. So you can fly around in the space shuttle. It's clown world. So you can announce that you're going to build concentration camps for anyone that thinks differently than you. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's an insult to any kind of intelligence anywhere. I have to conclude that Larry Fink, not only does he not think, he can't think. His brain is dead. He's the guy that owns everything, right? His brain is dead. Bezos isn't far behind. And yet we just sit here bowing down to these anti-truth, anti-Christ, evil people and their dumbness. Like, look at how dumb Bill Gates is. Can you believe he even graduated high school? I can't believe it. He and Sean Penn are like in a running to see who's going to be the stupidest person on earth. And yet there are people that say, oh, Bill's a genius and Sean is a genius. And, Sean had figured out, for example, that anybody that didn't take the vaccine should be immediately, incarcerated. And George Clooney even joined him. So he's quite an intellectual powerhouse. Calling him stupid is kind of like calling Einstein stupid. Right. Sean Penn and Einstein are both on par with each other. In this world, yes, you can say any damn thing you want. The sky is purple, whatever you want to say, you'll say it. And if people don't comply, you're going to lock them up. Because all you've ever known, you unworthy people, all you have ever known is how to bludgeon something that doesn't obey you. You never learn the subtleties of temptation, or even of Lucifer, whom you claim to follow. You never learned the trickery and the deception. I mean, you do it. You deceive the world into thinking, yep, all terror attacks are real. You can do that just so long. But ultimately, you're playing a game with yourself. And your IQ numbers are going down like the elevator at Times Square. You're going down, down, down into Dementia City. Because Nothing about you equals sustenance. Nothing about you is sustainable, in other words. Nothing about you is transcending. Nothing about you actually exists in the real world. You're just a temporary shit stain on 2-week-old sheets, soon to be either burned or washed. At any rate, you'll be gone. They lose. Folks, they lose. And I don't know how to make you feel better than this, but the nuclear war is not your big problem. Look at this. Look at this guy, Kevin Costner. They treat him like he's got a new thing, a new film, Horizon, playing on. Well, who knows what it's playing? But it's very important, as you can see by watching good old Kevin with his. And I'm a fan of Kevin's work. And right now we're getting a real in-depth look at some of this important artwork, some of this important window dressing, some of this very, very important things that happen in our culture, like movies and poetry takes a back seat. Music has no direction whatsoever, is completely launched into chaos with no hope of return. But it's okay. The goal for most people, in my opinion, is to be reincarnated, into this earth in a better position than what they had. Even if they don't really believe in it. That's what I think they would like to see happen. The truth is not good enough for them. As Mark Dice said, the great Mark Dice, here I've got a silver coin, a silver bar. I got a silver bar and a candy bar. Okay, a silver bar and a candy bar. Now, a silver bar is probably what, 10 ounces? So it's probably, a silver bar of 10 ounces would be about $200, something like that, 300, whatever, something between the two. And a candy bar is, let's say it's $5. 99% of these people want the candy bar, the Hershey's chocolate, and they don't want the silver bar, even though they could take the silver bar and buy 50 candy bars. And that's what you're dealing with. Lord, Your Honor, I hope you're not offended, Your Honor, that we point that out. I know they didn't start with no brain. I know that it atrophies when they renounce you, which they do formally in rituals. They will have to renounce God, and in so doing, they become fools. Because you see, they know it's not really true. They do it because they want to join the club. And then they're screwed. They lose. Look at them. Look at them on your TV set. They all lose. All these people that have been dictating to us for the last 40, 50 years, they all lose. They bought the hype that it was real, that it mattered. It doesn't. And that goes for anything on TV, politicians, actors, hoopla, blah, blah, it doesn't matter. It's a control mechanism. It's there to control the masses. It's there to control what we think. It's there to tell us we have two choices, Coke and Pepsi, Republican, Democrat, and all this stuff. I can't go there anymore. I got to tell you, folks, I really, 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 really feel like I don't need this world anymore. I'm here. I'm going to use it. I'm going to go through it. for as long as I'm here. I'm going to try to finish out leaving it better than when I found it. Do the best I can. But, when that's when that's over, I have every reason to want to see. First of all, I like to see a full spectrum. I don't just want to see the light, the white light from the lamp illuminating the table so I can read something. I want to see the whole spectrum of light. I want to see the whole spectrum of light in the ocean. I want to see all the dimensions collided together as one. I want to expand, as I know I could easily do, because I feel like there's just a little block somewhere, maybe in my head, where if I could just flip that switch, I'd be using 100% of my brain too. I would be able to defeat AI in about 2 seconds. No, without saying anything, just by my existence. Wow, this is pretty wild little talk. I hope you're doing well today. I'm not going to focus on the nuclear war, even though I put a big picture there. If so, it would be just more failure from the failing Biden administration, with the Biden immigration, the Biden immigrants, and the Biden this and the Biden that, the Biden, the Biden failure, the Biden interest rates, the Biden world. You like it? No, I don't think that Trump, or we call it the Biden world, but really what it means is it's all the powers that be. First of all, Biden doesn't exist except as a puppet. Obama is really running the show, but he's also a puppet. And so is Soros. So is Bill Gates. These are all puppets. Who's really got the levers of power? You're going to bypass that. I think the only reason I'm talking about this is because it's time to prepare for eternal values. Eternal values, as opposed to finite values. The real reset. And with that, I bid you shalom, shalom. You have a wonderful, peaceful day in Jesus' name. And may all your troubles be healed. In Jesus' name, amen.